Hi everyone, my name is martinyb and I am the owner and founder of Today I Want to Be. We are solving the problem of kids and youth not seeing someone who looks just like them in a variety of career fields. We are a career exploration resource for parents and educators, and through our interactive products and virtual interviews, kids and youth are able to see representation of their race and gender in career fields that they may not even know about. With every product we create, from our educational aids to our apparel and accessories, we are intentional about encouraging and helping kids and youth see that they can become anything they want to be. We are the only company who not only focuses on career exploration for kids and youth, but we also give them an opportunity to ask professionals about their careers every month during our free live virtual interviews as student co-hosts. If you are looking for a company that is dedicated to helping your child or student see that they can become anything they want to be, make sure you visit todayiwanttobe.com today. Calling all authors and publishers. Did you know Everything Authors has a free downloadable directory of platforms you can promote your book on? No longer will you have to search multiple places to market your book because you can find them here. Download your list today at everythingauthors.com/free-resources. That's everythingauthors.com/free-resources. Want to promote your book with Everything Authors on our web shows and social media pages just like these authors? For less than $9 a month, learn more at bit.ly/promote on web show. That's bit.ly/promote on web show.
lovely young lady. Do y'all see her in this?
She's a business owner.
A business owner. Kiss your brain.
A teacher.
Could be a teacher like Miss Joseph. Very good. I see. Or you could be who remembers? Say, I can be a social worker.
I can be a social worker.
Yes, a social worker.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in to another episode of Authors to Know and Their Books to Read. I'm your host, Martinique Brown. Today we are going to be talking to author Tony Lindsay, and he's going to be talking to us so much more about the African American mystery. I'm really excited to talk about this topic today because it's not too many. I think Tony is actually the first author that I've talked to that actually writes in this genre. So I'm really excited to learn more about this genre. Now, if this is your first time ever tuning into the show, make sure you go ahead and share this video now so that more people will know about Tony, as well as his book, One Dead Preacher, a David Price mystery. If you're interested in purchasing his book, make sure that you go to that description box, because right there next to the $ is the book purchasing link from Amazon. Also, you can definitely stay in touch with Tony as well on Twitter, his Facebook page, as well as his website. So make sure you consistently go to that description box. Now, one of the great things about the show is we love to make it interactive. So if you're tuning in from any other page other than Martinique Y. Brown or Everything Authors, I need you to come on over to one of those two pages so that I can see your questions and your comments, and I can relay those to Tony as well. Just give us a virtual shout out. Let us know that you are in the house. But Tony, thank you so much for being on the show.
Well, thank you, Martinique. I always look forward to talking with you.
Likewise. So can you tell our new viewers just a little bit more about yourself and how long you've been a published author?
Okay. A little over 20 years. Started out in the mystery genre. Well, actually, I wrote a thriller first. I wrote Street Possessions, and it was titled something different. Prayer Pray. It was titled Prayer Pray. And Carl Weber titled it Street Possessions. And I wrote that book first, but the first book that was published was One Dead Preacher, the Mystery. And I've published in mysteries, I've published street lit, and I've done psychological thrillers. So I've written in different genres. And, you know, I I enjoyed it, but I don't know if it was the strongest or the smartest career move. It seems like people make a lot more money staying in one genre. But you know, I'm happy I've done what I've done. So it works out.
But do you think that it would be better, or does it put you in a box when you only write in one genre?
Well, people know what to expect, right? When you only write, I had a friend tell me, a reader tell me the other day at a book event, she's like, I never know what to expect. You know, when you write, I buy it because you wrote it, but I'm always shocked after I read it. And I'm like, well, that's good. And she's like, it is good, but it would be nice to know. But then with me, if you buy the One Dead series, then you know you're getting a mystery, right? I've got One Dead Preacher, One Dead Lawyer, One Dead Doctor. So then you know those are mysteries. But she was like, I never know. So yeah, I think it goes both ways. I, as a writer, I model myself after different writers, right? Like Chester Himes, he wrote mysteries, he wrote thrillers, he wrote societal pieces. So I look at people who I've admired their careers, and I kind of do what they do.
So now, why did you want to actually discuss this particular genre?
Well, I'm working on a new one. So I've got One Dead Activist, and mystery writers. As a mystery writer, I get to make, through my mysteries, I make more social commentary than in any other job. Well, that's not true, but I make social commentary through the mysteries, but I also do it in my street lit. I do it in my thrillers, but mystery social commentary is a bit stronger because generally that's the theme of the book, right? Like with One Dead Lawyer, it was about corrupt attorneys, driving or surviving off of our One Dead Doctor was about the pharmaceutical industry. The one I'm writing now, One Dead Activist, is about finance, the banking industry. So I could, with those, I've been able to concentrate. One Dead Preacher was about preachers, religion. I've been able to concentrate on one theme or one problem. Once I can have one comment and I can comment on it. So that's kind of why I wanted to talk about it. And, little history thing, because Black people have been writing mysteries for a long time, and our mysteries have always been different. We didn't stick to the Agatha Christie, Sherlock Holmes type of thing. We always bring in social and societal issues. And I think that's largely due to being people who were, part of an oppressed society or oppressing society. So we've used our art to always make social commentary, and that's been persistent or consistent with mystery writers. Pauline Hopkins, Rudolph Fisher, Chester Himes, Walter Mosley, Eleanor Taylor Brand, Mike Phillips, Barbara Neely. They've all made big social statements with their books. Tony Lindsay, so and that's kind of people think it's just all about, it is about trying to figure out who did it. That's the difference. A thriller is who's it going to happen to next. A mystery is who did it, who did the thing. So that remains persistent. But we black mystery writers have always made, I think, societal statements in those mysteries.
So now, since you talk about the societal commentary that you make, is it safe to assume that is the position you take when we do know that it is commentary? Or do you try to look at other people's opinions and also put it into the book?
No, it's mine. It's my opinion, but it's my take on the issue. The pharmaceutical, the One Dead Doctor, what I did was, in that book, this doctor was trying to come up with a cure for addiction.
Okay.
However, he was being backed by a pharmaceutical company to experiment on Black people, or poor people. One day a lawyer, it was a lawyer arranging accident cases, right? He was a personal injury attorney, but he did some stuff, to help make money for himself, but at the cost of our community. One day preacher, it was a preacher, right? He had he had misled people. He had homeless shelters and everything else, but he was using these. It looked like he was doing good, but he was using these things for other purposes. So each book comments on something. So it's my opinion, right? It's not really, or my observation of situations.
And are the main characters, like you have your one day lawyer, one day doctor, one day preacher, are they always African American?
Yeah, pretty much. Or there are white people in the book, but the protagonist is David Price, and David's an interesting guy, right? He is actually a personal escort. Not I shouldn't say that. A personal security guard, right? Bodyguard is more. So that's his training, but he gets involved in these murder mysteries. Because of his he's hired to protect people, and everybody he protects doesn't always stay safe. And so he tries to figure out what's going on, what's happening. And that's the mystery of it. It is who did it. That is the driving story, but you're in the community, within the environment. All the stories take place on the south side of Chicago, largely the south side of Chicago. He still lives in Inglewood. He has rehabbed a home in Inglewood. So you see his life, right? So I've been writing David Price for 20 years now. So he's progressed. In the last one, I generally write them 10 years behind where I am now. So this one is in 2008. It starts in 2008.
Okay.
So
okay. So David Price, he's a security guard, you said, right?
A personal bodyguard.
Personal bodyguard. Okay. So David Price is a personal bodyguard, but the person he is protecting is a preacher.
In one story, well, it's actually the preacher's wife.
Okay.
And one day preacher. So different situations. In one day preacher, the preacher's wife needs protection from the preacher. So David takes her on, and the preacher becomes a threat. His whole congregation becomes a threat. So, and I've had some people come to me and swear that I know who you were talking about. This is blah, 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 blah. And they blah, blah. And I was like, no, man, it's fiction. It's fiction. And people have been coming saying at the last event, everybody was telling me, oh man, that's Jesse Jackson on the cover.
That looks just like him.
It is not. But so, and growing up in the South Side, people recognize events, they recognize streets. And so then they try to assume that stories are about certain people, and they're not. Although, I did have one lawyer in mind when I wrote The One Dead Lawyer, but it wasn't him per se. But people have come to me again, and man, I know that guy. I did a case with him, blah, 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 blah. So, yeah.
But it seems like David goes above and beyond, because you said that he tries to figure out who did it, and so that's not really his job,
But he's always in danger. He always ends up in danger because of something he has done while protecting someone. Or in One Day a Doctor, how he gets involved in it is his best friend's niece is found dead behind his house from an overdose. And girls are popping up all throughout the South Side dead. And he's like, something's wrong here. And so he gets involved in trying to figure out what's wrong. And
okay. So he's not out, because I was about to say, if everybody coming up dead, David might not be a good bodyguard. But, so it sounds like he does, just even if it's not involved with his client, he does still try to figure out. People come to him because he is seen
as a leader. Again, he does softball. He still lives. He's professional. He's had his house is rehab, so he can drive down underground. And that's not something that's seen in Inglewood. So he stands out, right? Like I said, he coaches teams. He's involved in the community. People know who he is. His best friend, Ricky Brown, is a crime boss. So they've grown up in Chicago, street orientated, you know, and people know them. They have reputations. They have, you know, street reps, and they are people who have worked outside of the establishment and have survived.
So it sounds like, you know, like you said, David is well known, but does he have a family, and are we introduced to his family?
Oh yeah. In his first book, he loses his son, and he and his wife divorced because of it. There's a lot of family. You see him trying to establish relationships with women in almost every book, right? And One Dead Activist, he and his wife are coming back together. They may actually end up getting married again. People love his wife. Yeah, and they love David, but they like his wife too. And I've I get so many, because these I've been reading these books over 20 years, so I get so many comments, so much. I have people who are telling me, you should change the ending if you do another edition of it. I'm like, I can't change the ending. The book is 20 years old, you know. So people like David. They like him a lot, and they like Ricky Brown. And what you get from it is a black male relationship, a Chicago black male relationship, from people who have survived, again, outside of your normal, because this is David's company, right? So this is not like he works for somebody else. This Epsilon's security service is his company, you know.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay. So that is interesting, though. You know how you were mentioning, somebody mentioned that you should change the ending. Can you do that though? I mean, I understand, you know, that is how it happened, but if you wanted to, could you make an alternate ending to a book?
You probably could. I wouldn't consider that. You probably could, maybe. I mean, they do it for movies, you know. You probably could. I would, you know, wouldn't. Once I get to the end, it's like a Zen moment, right? So I probably would. I can't see changing it.
So what makes a good African American mystery book?
I think what makes it good is if the reader is always asking what's next. They can't figure it out until the end. If it does deal with an issue, and it's an issue that the reader can feel attached to, I think dialogue, they have to sound black, right? But a lot of people, so what does that sound like, sounding black? We have a tone, we have and I think that a good mystery, if it's an African American mystery, it should capture that. I think any African American book should, but the mystery has to, it's a lot like any other book. It has to suspend disbelief, right? They have to be involved in the story. And when I read a mystery, if I'm not involved in the story, I'm angry, because you haven't caused me to be invested in the book. I don't really particularly want to, when I'm at an event, I tell people these books will go to the bathroom with you. You won't put them down. But a mystery really needs to do that. They need to be asking what's going to happen next. You know, a lot like a thriller, you know, like the Melody Night piece we talked about. You know, it's a vampire story, but it's a thriller. So it's always all about the reader. To turn that page, they have to have a question in their mind. And I think a mystery that you really have to be, did he do it? I think I can see why, blah, 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 blah. Because I've had the people come to me, I didn't think that blah, blah. Oh my God, I thought for sure it was blah, blah. And that's the part about mystery that I enjoy. I enjoy the conversations, because at every event I go to, in the Midwest and in Florida too, people have read one of these, and you know, and so generally there's always a conversation about one of them. Really, really, really cool.
That's good. That's good. And I know that you just talked about the tone and the rhythm that Black people have, and you really try to have that in your books. Are there any other elements that would really distinguish African American mysteries from other mystery books?
I think the community. Most African American mysteries happen within a community. All right. Walter Mosley does it. And you see, and I think that's probably a distinct trait to our mysteries. It's not America at large, it's the Black community within America. And that you meet Reverend Goodhall, you meet Sister Margaret, you see the dope boy, you see the police officers that are within the community. So I think that is strong. I also think we generally have a lot of family. Family is a big part of African American mysteries, because when you meet the character, you meet the community, you meet the family, and usually the characters are struggling with something other than the mystery. Right? There's something else going on with this character, and it could be a societal issue. Generally, that's what it is. He or she is responding to some form of life in this oppressive society. So I think that's probably distinct to our mysteries as well. I don't feel bad saying it, because when I'm thinking about it, because I was like, man, you're making a real big generalization, but thinking about the African American mystery books that I've read, even the ones from London, Mike Phipps from London, they have those elements. So, yeah.
So because you have read so many other authors that write in the African American mystery genre, do you feel that, would you all as authors of that genre, would you all be, is there any type of like change that can happen that's like, man, this is so different from an African American mystery? It's like, can you really just try to separate yourself from these other authors that write in the same genre? How do you just do that?
Oh, yeah, there's differences. Barbara Neely writes way different than I do. Even though those elements may be the same, but you can tell her books, her characters are different. Her main character works with a police officer. Was that Eleanor? One of them, their main character is always working with a police officer. My character has problems with the police. Okay, so but they're different plot elements in the stories. So, and there's different time frames, right? I write 10 years past today. Walter Mosley writes in the 60s, the 60s. So Chester Himes wrote in about the 30s and the 40s, right? Harlem, or the 20s, in the 20s. So there are different things that distinguish each writer. But you asked about some elements that were the same, right? But they're not. Like, if you read my book, you're not going to read my book and think it's a Walter Mosley book. You're going to know that there's some, oh, no, this is what Tony does. And I think that's another talent that we as Black mystery writers do. Our characters are walk up off the pages. When you read a Chester Himes book, you Grave Digger, you think you know Grave Digger Jones, you think you know him, So, Easy Rollins, and Mouse. We know they're good buddies. Mouse is Easy Rollins' buddy, right? He's been his adversary in some of the stories too. So yeah, no, I don't think we have a problem with being redundant, even though those traits may be in there. Yeah.
So why do you feel that it's necessary to distinguish this genre by race as opposed to just categorizing it as a mystery?
Some writers probably do that, but for me, in America, most things are always about race. So it's an African, and we do mystery different, right?
Okay.
Even our cozy mysteries are different, right?
You say cozy mystery?
Yeah,
That's a genre?
it is. It is.
What is a cozy mystery though?
Um,
How would you
from my
describe it?
understanding, it is it's a police story. It's generally a female protagonist.
Okay.
A police story. And that's about all I know about it. I don't know what makes it cozy.
Yeah, I was thrown off by the cozy. I'm like,
That's what they call it. They call it a cozy mystery. Tony or Tracy Clark writes cozy mysteries, and her character, she's a woman. She's smart. She's challenged by these police officers. I'm not exactly sure what makes it cozy.
Now, I have a question for you that may sound kind of odd, but let's say that you wanted more, or you wanted other ethnicities to read your book. Do you think that it would be more beneficial to just categorize it in the mystery genre as opposed to saying African American mystery?
When it's sold, when the books are sold in a store, they're sold in the mystery genre.
Okay.
Our discussion, I don't know if African American mystery is a genre. I think I just said African American because I was talking about Black writers of mystery.
Okay.
I think it's probably in Barnes and Noble, it's under mystery.
Got you.
But they may call it urban mystery because they still categorize our writings. And I know authors who don't want to be labeled African American mystery. They don't want to be labeled anything that they write as African. They just want to be in the bookstore. I've always said you can smell the greens cooking in what I write.
You are so funny. Yeah.
No, I don't have a problem with it. But and other white people read my stuff, and they like it. White people read Walter Mosley. Bill Clinton read Walter Mosley, white people read Eleanor Taylor Brand. Of course, white people read Chester Himes. So I don't think you have to say it's just because I say it's an African American thriller or an African American vampire book or an African American mystery. I hope I'm not limiting readership. I'm telling people who the characters are. Okay. I don't have, and I want people to know, but I mean, and I'm funny because James Patterson writes a Black character, right? Is that an African American thriller?
Right.
I don't know. He's white, so I don't know if it would be considered an African American thriller. I don't think so. But so that goes into the book industry, and I am so limited in knowledge about how that works. I tried to figure it out, but now all I do is just I write. I try to find an agent to sell my stuff, and that's basically all I got. It's bigger than my understanding. I'm pretty sure there are MBAs out here who have a much better understanding of how a book should be categorized than I do. For our discussion, I wanted to call it the African American genre of mysteries because that's what I was going to talk about: Black writers who write mysteries. I don't think that is a literary genre. I don't think that you could find a number for, but if you go on Amazon.com, it does say African American mystery. So I don't know. Again, it's beyond my comprehension.
And I'm glad that you brought that up because I was really thinking that it is just, an African American mystery, specifically a genre for that.
But there's books written. Paula Woods wrote a book about African American mystery genres. Spooks, Spies, and Private Eyes.
Spooks, Spies, that's a great title.
Yeah.
So now, is murder mysteries, or I'm sorry, not murder mysteries, but is mysteries written by African Americans? Is that a very popular genre for the African American community? Because, like I was saying in the show, you're the first author that I've ever interviewed that
Oh,
writes
no,
mystery
no,
books.
no. Thomas Green, there, yeah, it's popular. We Hugh Holton, he's deceased now. But black people like mysteries. You know? And I've often been told that that's all I should have written. But I like writing street lit and everything else. So, but no, it's very popular. There's probably my best sellers are mysteries, but no, I can't say that because Chasing has sold a lot of books. More boy than girl sold a lot of books too. So no, but we like mysteries. Yeah, mysteries do quite well, and there are a lot of current Black mystery writers.
That's interesting. And I really like the fact that you wrote this as a series, because I feel like series really allows us to follow the individual's life. And I know that you said that you do it 10 years. Are you saying you do it 10 years in advance or?
Behind me. So like right now, the book I'm writing, One Dead Activist, happens in 2008.
Okay.
So actually, is it 10 years? That's less, that's 18. That's almost 20 years. But yeah, so yeah, it has already occurred because in that way I do a little research, like I find the movies, the book, you know, the music, the popular to create that era.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. So now, when will that book be released then? Do you know?
I don't know. I got to find somebody to try to sell it. I got to find an agent. I'm writing it now, and I'm raw boning it. Right, I had to stop doing, I wasn't taking any other new editing jobs because I've been trying to write this for almost 2 years now, but I keep getting other things pop up. Like I released 2 books this year, Chestnut Checkers and Melody Night, The Vampire's Tale. So this book, I'm probably not gonna I may have another novella come out, but I don't think so. Everything is going into this One Dead Activist. But I do have a novella finished, so that may come out. It depends on the publisher or who I could find the publisher.
So now on One Dead Preacher, I know that it says it's, the 20th anniversary of the book. And that was back in 2019. Does that mean when we click on that link in the description box next to the $sign, does that mean that
the story happened and
No. What I wanted to ask was, you re-released the book in 2019.
Yes. No, this year, 2020. I re-released it or last year, 2020.
Okay.
Yeah, and it was first published in 2000, or 1999 to 2000, and I re-released it in 2020. It's the same story, just a new cover.
Right.
Yeah.
So now, for our viewers that's tuning in, that's new authors and are interested in writing series and things like that, we know that you're going to come out with your newest book, One Dead Activist. Do you feel that it's beneficial to re-release a book, kind of to get people excited about, or to introduce them to that very first book? Like, what's the thinking process behind re-releasing a book?
Well, it was 20 years, and I had I was actually trying to get a publisher to do it. I had saw who I don't know, I think it was Sulu or somebody's book. I saw other people's books that had their 20th anniversary edition. I was like, well, I need to have a 20th anniversary edition of mine. So the 2 publishers I talked to, 3 said no. So this was actually the first book that I actually self-published.
Oh, okay.
But I did it because I wanted to have a 20th anniversary edition. Again, I look at what other writers have done before me, and I try to do what they did.
Mm-hmm.
And so,
And that actually makes me think about movies,
Mhm.
because we have different generations, and when it's a good movie, they will recreate it. And sometimes I'm thinking to myself, why are you recreating it? Just have your child watch the original. Like this Cinderella movie that just came out again. And I'm like, please don't mess it up. And
Well,
so
we wouldn't have got the Oz if they wouldn't have remade it, right? We wouldn't have got what's her name? Diana Ross,
the
doing
Wiz.
the Wiz. Yeah, I said
No, but now that's totally different. You know what I'm saying? Like that's got some flair, some urban.
right. But I'm saying they could have redid it, and made it better. So
Yeah,
I,
yeah. Now
yeah.
that's a good thought. I didn't think of it
Yeah.
like that, but
Mhm.
okay.
But I
Okay.
understand, I hope they never touch, but then I'm not gonna say that. But I really enjoy the one with Harlem with what is it? Harlem Nights with
Harlem Nights. Uh-huh.
Murphy, Richard Pryor, Red Fox. That's
Yeah.
history,
Yeah, yeah.
right? So I don't know if you can ever do that again,
Well, I was thinking about that for your book because you did re-release it. I feel like sometimes generations that did not get to experience it when it first came out are able to experience it now.
Right, right, right. And but the re-release is funny because the other one is still out there. I don't know. Maybe if a publisher would have done it, the re-release probably would have been bigger because they have more market penetration than I
Right.
do. I don't think I will ever self-publish another book. That's probably true from experience. Although
Yeah.
some stuff I like, but I like having it on the table when I go out to events. I like having it on the table, and that it's a big seller on the
Yeah.
table. Yeah, it's a big seller.
So do we have to though, because it is a part of a series, do you catch it? Like if we was to read One Dead Activist, would it be beneficial to read One Dead, because One Dead Preacher is the first one, right?
Right. It was one
So
dead
would it
preacher,
be
one dead
beneficial?
lawyer, one dead doctor.
Right. So would it be beneficial to read One Dead Preacher first before we read One Dead Activist, or do you catch us up in
No,
One Dead
no,
Activist?
they're all standalones. You
Okay.
can read one and don't have to read the other. They're
Okay.
all standalone stories, and I think that's the mark of a good mystery. Um,
Mm.
I don't have to know what happened there to read this, and that I think makes it a good story.
Mm-hmm.
They're all, and that could probably be another trait because most of the African American mysteries that I've read are standalone pieces. I don't have to know that Devil in the Blue Dress, and then if I read Always Outnumbered, I don't have to. What I think those are two different characters. A Devil in the Blue Dress and oh my God, maybe Gone Fishing. Yeah, I don't have to read those two. I wouldn't have had to have read Devil in the Blue Dress to read Gone Fishing, and still I'll be okay. And that's what he's done. Walter Mosley was excellent. Each individual book stands on its own.
Now I think that that's really good. But Tony, if I wanted to know why David divorced his wife, how would I know that? Or is that all about the creative part of the writing? Like you throw in bits and pieces of why they divorced.
Yeah, you do that. Or
Okay.
yeah, that's exactly, you do that. You not remind, but you let them know that information. But now if they go and read another book, they will, and I've had people do that, right? I just wanted to know how David and Ricky got to be friends. So I went and read One Dead Preacher, and that's, so that does happen. There is more information. If you read them 1, 2, and 3 like that, you would probably be a David Price scholar.
Yeah. All about David.
Yeah.
But I honestly think it's just so cool how these characters really just take a life of their own like that. I think it's amazing. Now I know that this book has over 4 stars from your readers. What has more so been gratifying to you about writing this book, and what have you heard back from the readers of this book?
Since it was my first published book, I was so happy. It was first published by Black Words, Kwame Alexander, and he had me come to DC. My first book signing was at Howard University.
Oh,
So,
nice.
yeah, that was just crazy. And then when I came here, people in Chicago, it was actually #1 on Amazon in Chicago for a while, which was really,
that's good.
yeah, that was cool. One of the biggest thrills was seeing somebody reading it on the L, right? I was sitting on the L.
Oh, you just happened to be on there.
L train.
That is so cool. I would have.
That was really, really cool.
Did you say anything to him?
No, I didn't. I did not.
I would have said everything to him. I was like, what you do?
I was just sitting there grinning like an idiot,
Yeah.
And then what I like is the fact that people say, man, it was, I know David and I know Ricky, and some people like Ricky more than they like David. So it's been really, really good to do the series, but it's very challenging because you don't want people read these books, and I can't mess it up, right? One Dead Doctor, it took about maybe 2 years before people start posting reviews, and I was like, oh my God, they're reading it now, so people know, and they are, they're important to people. People like them. So I try to stay abreast at it. That's why it takes a lot of time. I can't, I don't rush through any books, but I want to make sure the story's finished. And in a mystery, the story really has to be finished. And you can't have any hanging loose threads, because we are really particular about that. Man, you didn't even tell me why, blah, 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 blah. So you can't have no loose.
I mind telling you.
Right.
And when you were talking about sometimes it's difficult to write them, I was thinking about you have to actually remember like what happened from other books, like not so much to repeat something, or just more so like not to make a mistake.
Right.
Because like you said, people read them and like, no, that couldn't have happened.
Right. That doesn't make sense. So yeah, you do have to go back. Sometimes like to write One Dead Doctor, I had to pretty much reread a lot of One Dead Lawyer. Now for One Dead Activist, I'm going through all of them. I go through all of them to make sure that because the character has to be true. You don't want to, if it's a first time reader, okay. But with this One Dead series, I don't really, I get first time readers, but I also have people who are waiting for One Dead Activists. Because I remember when I first said it, I was working on it. I told him it was going to be One Dead Race Man, but the term race man, it's a term that I'm comfortable and antiquated with, but someone who's 23 might not know what a race man is.
What is a race man?
See, okay, it's an activist, right? It's okay. like Du Bois was considered a race man. Booker T. Washington, in their era, the term was race man. It wasn't activist. It was people who were concerned about Black people, and they were people who sacrificed their own lives for their race. They were called race men and race women. Sojourner Truth, race man, race woman.
So if you ever got tired of writing this series, would the best thing to do is to kill David off?
I probably couldn't kill David, and I don't know if I just would probably be unable to do that. No, I don't know if I would get tired of writing the series, because there's a lot of me and David and Ricky, so, and I get to talk about stuff in this series, I get to talk about the pharmaceutical industry. I get to talk about shiesty lawyers. I get to talk about treacherous preachers. Now I'm talking about, financial institutions that, so I don't see it ever. I don't have like 20 of them, only got 3. And so this is to be the 4th one. So it's not like, because I've done other things, right? I've done the street lit. I love writing street lit, when I finish this, and I'm starting, I got a historical fiction piece that I started on Nat Turner. So, I got a lot going on.
Yeah. Now, I know that you, you mentioned that you are talking about societal, issues and commentary in your book. I want to talk a little bit just about like what's going on with Dave Chappelle. If you was to talk about maybe a controversial topic in your book, do you think that authors have a little bit more ability to talk about these issues and not get backlash, such as somebody that's on TV?
Okay. I wrote a book called Chasing It. And Chasing It has a transgender woman, born man, lives as a woman. I also wrote a book called More Boy Than Girl, which has a woman who lives as a man. I spoke to both of these because I was impressed with these people. I met, as a younger person, I met a man or a transgender woman who could fight, who I had all the respect for, who raised her nieces and nephews because her sister was addicted. So she took these kids and raised them while she was wearing wigs and high heels and all of that. So I had severe, and she raised her grandmother. I had I had a lot of respect for this person, so I think writers, since we create life on a page, we don't get criticized because I'm creating life. I'm not telling you something's right or wrong. I'm giving you I'm showing you something, and you could find that judgment yourself.
Okay.
I watched that Dave Chappelle last night. And I think the show, he was trying to just show people that he was creating art. Now, art, everybody's not going to agree with it. I lost a lot of readers when I wrote Chasing It.
Oh, really?
Oh my God. I lost a ton of readers. I wrote a book called Street Possessions, Prayer of Prey, and I lost readers because there's a scene in there where this guy's praying to the devil. And people were like, Tony, you not lost your damn mind, and they were dead serious. They were dead serious. And I had a publisher tell me, she was like, I thought you were gay. I was like, why would you think I was gay? Because you wrote
the book.
I was like, oh no, I ain't gay. But I wrote Chasing It. Did you think I was a lesbian after I wrote More Boy Than Girl? So I don't know. And the good thing though is that we may get criticized, but I think we continue to write. I've known writers who stopped writing after some criticism, but I think they stopped writing because they just ran out of stuff to say. Everybody doesn't have. I think they just ran out of stuff to say. But our community is very, very harsh on artists. So I think that this trans and changing and accepting and coming out is going to make things more accepting. Because I mean, authors and artists have had to live in closets, but a lot didn't. Like, Langston, and they were just like, hey, I'm out here,
Yeah.
This is what I do, you don't like it, hey, don't read my shit, so I don't I think there's been a certain amount of independence that comes with being an artist because we're starving artists. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna do my art with you or without you. It's better if when you do have the system behind you, it's better. The financial rewards are better.
Yeah.
So when you're published by Random House or Simon and Schuster, life is so much different than when you're published by a smaller press, And I think that, I'm not one who's going to stop trying. I'm always going to try to get back into that area, that level of publication, because the money is way better. And the travel is better. You don't. It's just better.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And you mentioned something that I don't hear authors talk about a lot. You said you found out that you lost a lot of readers. You lost some readers from some of the books that you wrote. Right. How do you find out that you've lost readers? Is it strictly based off of like maybe the financials have went down?
The finances went down, and people tell you the finances. But I was in New York, and this guy, he was a book. They sell books on tables in New York, and he had a table, and he was like, and he told me, he's like, man, that Chasing It, I don't know anybody buy that book on my table. And I was like, that's crazy, because the book sells, in the library. The Chicago Love Park, people stole it out the library. You can't hardly find the book in public. I was looking to buy it so I could have it on the table, and all I could buy is secondhand copies. So, which is what I wanted, but the book sold. Did it sell what the publisher was wanting? I don't know. I don't know. But how I knew I lost readers was people approaching me and telling me, I have a friend, her mother who is passed now. She was like, I couldn't stop reading that book, but I'm mad because you had me reading about that stuff, but she couldn't stop reading it, but she was mad, but I did not lose her. She continued to read so.
That's funny. That's funny. Well, Tony, I definitely appreciate you for being on the show, so we could talk a lot more about different authors that actually write African-American mysteries, as well as so we can learn so much more about your One Dead series as well. If you're interested in purchasing One Dead Preacher, a David Price mystery, make sure that you go to that description box, and right there next to the $sign, click on that link, and you will actually be able to read that book summary as well. Also, you want to make sure that you follow Tony because he is always working on different books and projects and things like that. So, and he does book fairs. So make sure that you follow him on Twitter or his Facebook page. Also visit his website that's listed in the description box as well. Make sure you continue to share this video so that more people will know about Tony, as well as his One Dead series as well, and about some of the other authors that he mentioned just throughout the interview as well. We definitely hope that you guys have a great remainder of the night, and we will talk to you all later. Bye-bye.